Hi, I'm Uncle Carl. Welcome to Twin Moons Tavern. Today we're doing the simple yet delicious pork chop sandwich. Pork chop sandwiches aren't particular to one part of the country or even the world, and the concept is really just as simple as it sounds. It's a pork chop, in this case pan fried, on a sandwich. It's simple yet delicious. This is how I do my version. First, to add a bunch of flavor and really make your pork chop moist, we're going to go ahead and brine them. So in a saucepan on a medium heat, put in 2 cups of water. Get it to the point where it at least starts to steam, but you don't need to get it to a full boil. Put in a 1/4 cup of salt, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Whisk that together until it dissolves. And then go ahead and start putting in whatever kind of aromatics you really like. You're really doing this for the sugar and the salt. I'm starting with a couple peppercorns, a couple of dried chilies, crush a couple of cloves of garlic. I'm not bothering peeling them. I'm not mincing them up. And whisk that all together until the sugar and salt has thoroughly dissolved. Once that's done, turn off the heat and let it come down to room temperature. If you'd like to speed that process up, go ahead and put in a few ice cubes. I'd keep it to 4 or less. Anything more than that, you're going to start to dilute your brine. Once that's cooled off to around room temperature, in a container, go ahead and put your pork chops, cover them with your brine, make sure that they're submerged, and then go ahead and put them in the refrigerator. If you're going to bother brining them, like most things, you want to let them sit for at least an hour, preferably overnight. Once you're done brining them, we're going to go ahead and put them in the oven for a little bit. So take them out, be sure to rinse them off to get any of the excess salt off of there. Put them on a pan lined with tin foil, and then stick them in the oven at 300 degrees for about 20 minutes, or until they reach an internal temperature of about 120 to 125 degrees. What we're looking to do is to just slowly cook them until they reach a temperature that all we need to do is sear them really quick to take them the rest of the way. And then that way we're going to have nice, juicy, tender pork chops that are evenly cooked throughout and then still get a good sear on them. While those are cooking in the oven, go ahead and slice up some onions. Get your pan on a medium-low heat. Put some butter. Then your onions, a little bit of salt. Turn them occasionally so they don't burn, but otherwise we're going to let them sweat, soften up, and slowly turn brown. Once you get them to where you like, add a little balsamic vinegar, stir them in, let them go for a few more minutes, and then pull them to the side. And then once you've done that, go ahead and pull your pork chops out of the oven when they're ready, and we can begin searing them. Make sure you still got a little bit of butter in there. Crank that bad boy up to a medium high, and then just put the pork chops in there, about 2 minutes per side. And then just pull them and let them rest for about 5-10 minutes. While they're resting, go ahead and toast your rolls. What you see me doing here is I'm digging out a little trench from the bottom part of the bread. I'm going to slice these pork chops up into thin pieces, and by having that trench, I'll be able to get more on the sandwich without it spilling over to the sides. Go ahead and toast it in that pan. Use any fat that's been rendered from the pork chops, and add some butter or oil as you see fit. Once those are done and the pork chops have rested, we're going to go ahead and slice up those pork chops. Be sure to try to cut against the grain. That'll make those slices more tender. And I'm going to go about 1/2 centimeter thick, like 1/4 inch, maybe a little thinner than that. If you notice the pork chops are still a little bit pink, that's perfectly fine, and they're going to be extra juicy that way. If you want them to be a little bit more well done, just let them sear for another 30 seconds to a minute on both sides of the pork chop. Stack your bread, pile on your sauteed onions, a little arugula, to make it healthy. Spread some mustard on the top piece of bread. Put it together, cut it along a bias in half, and then the all-important cross-section. This is real simple, straightforward stuff to put together. It's not complicated at all, and it makes a killer sandwich. You got a really nice mixture of the spiciness of the mustard, the bitterness of the arugula, and the sweetness of the onions. Combine that with the super juicy pork chops, and you got yourself a hit. Now let's see what cameraman Scott thinks.
Definitely got a little bit of saltiness going on. Then you get a little bit of sweetness of the onions. A little bitterness out of the arugula. So it's a good whammo. blends nicely. Then you also get the nice little balance with the mustard. Got a nice juiciness out of the pork.
Well, that juiciness is because of the brine. You know, that brine is not just seasoning, but it's pulling in moisture with it into the meat. You're really digging this, aren't you?
That is very good.